Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, my name is Chase Michael.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I currently own my own political polling and advising firm, N5 Political Research. We're based in California, but our work is national in scope.
What sort of education do you have?
Well, I received my bachelor's degree in political science from Loras College, and then I went on to the University of California at San Diego and received my master's degree in social and demographic analysis.
What did you do after graduating?
Well, when I graduated, I went to the Gallup polling firm and worked there from 2001 to 2007. In the later half of 2007, I left the Gallup polling firm and founded N5.
Mr. Michael, I want to talk to you about a political campaign. Were you involved with the 2015 mayoral election?
Yes, I was. I advised Max Heisman's political campaign, or rather, N5 did. And we were also conducting polling in the months leading up to the election.
Then are you aware of that election and its outcome?
Yes, I am. Mayor Max Heisman was re-elected as the incumbent, and Elizabeth Ginger has since alleged that she conducted voter fraud and filed a suit against Mayor Heisman.
Mr. Michael, why are you here today?
Well, Mayor Heisman's campaign hired me to assess whether there was any statistical analysis behind Elizabeth Ginger's allegations.
What do you mean?
Well, I had to answer two questions. First, whether there was voting fraud present in District 12, and second, whether that voting fraud caused an outcome change. Whether, absent any fraud, Elizabeth Ginger would have won the 2015 mayoral election.
And did you have sufficient facts and data for your analysis?
I did. I used the official results of the 2011 and the 2015 mayoral elections, as well as polls that my firm conducted in the months leading up to the election.
Did you use reliable principles and methods in analyzing this data?
Yes. My expertise comes in knowing how elections work, and then applying that understanding to different factors in elections and how they may have impacted the outcome of an election. We like to say in the field that the technical work can be done by anybody trained in the MADS method.
Mr. Michael, what is the MADS method?
Multiplication, addition, division, and subtraction. Once you understand how elections work, the technical work is really that simple.
Well, Mr. Michael, I'm going to get to your investigation in a second, but before that I have a few other questions for you. Now, did you meet with the Heisman campaign on January 10th?
No, I did not.
Does that mean, did you meet with a person by the name Sam Ziegler then?
No, I never met anybody named Sam Ziegler.
And permission to take evidence from the background? Permission to approach the witness? What have I just handed you?
It looks to be a sort of memorandum from the Heisman campaign, but I've never seen it before.
So you've never seen this document before?
No, I have not.
Permission to put this evidence back to the bench. Getting to your investigation, Mr. Michael, how did you start?
Well, like I said, I had two questions. So the first question to answer was whether there was, in fact, voter fraud in District 12. Now, I reviewed the audit of Professor Leighton Davis, which did find some evidence of election fraud, so I conducted my investigation under the assumption that those allegations were true.
Just to be clear, are you saying Max Heisman was responsible for the fraud that occurred?
I have no idea. That wasn't part of my investigation. I just had to see whether that election fraud impacted the election itself.
Well, after you made this assumption, what was the next step you did?
Well, the first thing I had to do was determine how many extra votes would have had to have been cast in order for Elizabeth Ginger to have won the election.
Well, how many votes did Elizabeth Ginger lose by?
223 votes. The official election results did show this.
Well, if Elizabeth Ginger lost by 223 votes, how many votes would she have needed to win?
Well, while she only lost by 223 votes, more votes would have had to have been cast in total to make up for any dissuaded voters that might have voted for Max Heisman.
And how did you determine how many dissuaded votes would have had to occur?
Well, I had to calculate each candidate's percentage of support within District 12, since that was the only district that had any allegations of fraud.
And how did you determine Elizabeth Ginger's percentage of support?
Well, I used two things to determine that percentage. First, a March 2015 poll that N5 conducted, and then the actual results of the 2015 mayoral election. Now, the poll that my firm conducted found that Elizabeth Ginger had 82% of the support in District 12. The actual election results showed that she received 81.8% of the vote. Because these numbers correlated so closely, I decided that 81.8% was the best percentage to use to represent Elizabeth Ginger's support in District 12.
Well, if Elizabeth Ginger only got 81.8% of dissuaded votes, how many dissuaded votes would there have to have been?
Well, using that percentage, 346 votes would have had to have been cast in total in order to make up for any dissuaded voters that would have voted for Max Heisman.
Is such a high number likely?
No. That would require a massive increase in voter turnout from the 2011 mayoral election, specifically within District 12.
Was there such a massive increase?
No, there was not.
Do you know why that might be?
Well, I can't say for certain, but in my experience as a political advisor and my teaching at Cal Poly Pomona, I've come to see that if a certain candidate neglects a certain area, that might cause a loss in excitement and support. Let's take District 12 for an example. Let's say, for example, Elizabeth Ginger stopped holding as many rallies or stopped paying as much attention to District 12. That could cause a loss of excitement and support within that district.
Was there a drop in support for Elizabeth Ginger in District 12?
Yes, there was. The February poll that N5 conducted showed 90% support for Elizabeth Ginger, but then the March poll showed only 82%, so an 8% decrease, excuse me.
Well, Mr. Michael, what conclusions did you come to for today's case?
Well, my first conclusion was that Elizabeth Ginger would have needed 346 more votes to have been cast in total in order to win the election. My second conclusion was that that would require a massive increase in voter turnout from the 2011 election. And my third conclusion was that that was not likely at all. So my final conclusion was that Elizabeth Ginger would not have won the election even if there was not any fraud present in District 12.
No further questions.
Any cross-examination of this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.